Hi, how are you? What brings you in here today?
Hi, how are you doing? Well, thank you for seeing me on such short notice. I've just been having a really stressful couple of months. It's primarily surrounding my dog. I have a dog. She's 17 years old, and her health has just been getting a little bit worse and worse. It's to the point now where she's on medication for her cognitive decline. Um, I used to share my dog with my sister whenever we were roommates. And then once I got married, and moved, I kind of took the dog with me, Daisy with me. So she's primarily lived with me for the past, 6, 7 years. But ever since she turned 17, I have just been just every day. It's just like, will I wake up? Will she be here? Will she pass away? Or will I see her health continuing to decline where I have to make a decision? And it's not something that I don't know. I'm just really just not doing well with it.
So what I'm hearing is, and correct me if I'm wrong, your dog Daisy is getting older and you do share her with your sister and you you were worried that you might have to make a call, a tough choice if that happens.
Mhm. Yeah, that's exactly right. I I don't know how to approach this. We've only had to put down one dog before, and that was the dog that we had before Daisy. And that dog had kidney disease. I mean, there's just no way that, she would have been able to survive what she had. But with Daisy, she's been such a great dog. Now that I have a family, it's not just me being impacted by her loss, but I know it's going to be my children and my husband. And then also Nicole, I mean, my sister, we've had such a great connection with her. And but to be honest, her medical bills are starting to become more and more and more. She's on different medication. We've tried different things. We've even taken her to a heart doctor, a specialist in Charlotte, which is almost like 2 hours away from us. And I just don't want to see her suffering. But I don't know how to determine whether or not she is suffering because well, first of all, she can't see, so she's completely blind. Um, and she just spends the majority of her time asleep, and her legs are a little bit weak, but she can still walk, and she eats and she still does everything regular, but she's just not that mobile and that active because of her age.
So you're torn between financially supporting your dog and wanting to keep her with your family because she seems to be like a little glue.
Hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, I've had her longer than I've been married and had my children. And she's a part of my sister, like we took care of her together. She moved with me when I moved down to Georgia. So a lot of the major things that I've had to happen in my life over the past 17 years, I've always had her with me. But then I see her and I can't help but to have my heart ache a little bit because I just know she's not the same dog. Um, she goes around in circles. She seems confused a lot. I used to enjoy taking her out on walks. I can't even take her out on walks anymore because I have to really lead her. Um, so it is a tough decision as far as me being the responsible or us being the responsible people to make this call about my dog's life. And I just don't want to do that, but then I don't want to see her suffer like I had mentioned. Um,
Wait for your dog, you know. But I wonder is like, what would Daisy want? Maybe like, would she want to, suffer and stay, or would she want, you know, the other alternative?
mhm. You're right. I think about that because I don't want her to suffer. And And all the times that we've taken her to the vet, our veterinarian has not mentioned that word. She has not mentioned her being in pain or anything. Like she doesn't really have any conditions. Like she doesn't have cancer. My other dog has diabetes, so I have to give him insulin twice a day. So we're always concerned about him. But with her, other than just the blindness and the cognitive decline and just being 17, that's I mean, that's just what she has. She has old age.
It
And
seems financially you have a lot on your plate.
oh yeah, yeah. And it's to the point too where I would get her to get a bath and then she'll trip over her food and get food all over her or get into like just she'll just get really dirty really easy, and she's a white dog, she's a black and white dog, so I feel like now I have to constantly take her to the groomer, and then she's also having a lot more accidents in the house, so there's constant cleaning up. And then of course my children, they they're 3 and 5, so they love to scream and say, oh, the dog made an accident, and make a big deal out of it. So is that too on top of it, because I have my family that I take care of, and then I have my dog Tino, who's get the diabetes twice a day, and then now I have Daisy, who you know is at 17.
Mm.
And I think it's weighing a little bit more on me now because last summer my brother had to put his dog down, and she was a different situation. She's a bigger dog. But then she really did like decline to the point where she couldn't walk and she wasn't eating. But I'm not seeing that with Daisy. I'm not seeing those same, you know, things that my brother's dog had that really prompted him to put her down. I don't see those things with Daisy.
Was your brother torn the same way, ultimately making a decision for his dog?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he had his dog Savannah, but just like us before he got married when he was a single man, and she eventually became the family dog, and she was having accidents. I mean, she was having some of the same things that my dog's having, but she was a whole lot worse, and from what he said than what Daisy was. So yeah, so he did struggle with that, and I mean they have another dog. They have two dogs, but I kind of think about, well, Daisy's not in the same situation as Savannah.
It seems like you and your brother are in the same emotional situation. So I wonder if maybe you could, if you haven't, like ask him for support, maybe
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
like emotionally.
I haven't really thought about talking to him and asking him about, what he thinks we should do with Daisy and how he really came to that point of making that decision with Savannah. Because he tried a lot of things with his dog. I mean, to the point where they were going to try experimental drugs and different types of things, and they just said that look, it's just not going to improve her quality of life. um, but with Daisy, there's nothing that I can, obviously there's nothing I can do to improve the quality of her life, but yeah, I guess I could call him and ask him about, how did he go through that process of making that decision. um, um, and because I know that that dog Savannah meant a lot to him. um,
It seems like your brother and, your brother, your sister, and yourself, like all had a close dog
mhm,
that really was and is a part of your family.
mhm.
And from what I'm hearing, I don't know if you like your brother's situation and yours is somewhat very similar.
Mm. Yeah,
Mine is, yeah. So
yeah, it's definitely very similar, but then also with my brother, he just made a decision with his family, so it's not just me, it's me and my family and then my sister. So,
mhm.
she has her own connection and her own memories with Daisy. So it's not, it's similar, but then it's not so similar. I've got about 30 seconds left. Um, so I'm just trying to just figure out what the next 6 months would look like and how to prepare myself if I need to make a decision about her.
So in our next sessions, if you would like, we can focus on navigating of how to take these steps, like for Daisy and your sister and your family, of how to navigate through this.
Yeah, I think that that's going to be a good conversation for us to have. And also, we haven't really started having those conversations with the vet as far as her long-term health and, what decisions we need to make when we need to make them. Um, I don't even, I think Daisy might be one of the oldest dogs that our vet has cared for quite some time. So, um, is definitely she definitely has a relationship with Daisy, just like we have in the past 6 years that we've been there. But then, like I said, it's going to the veterinarian constantly, just trying to make sure that she's okay and that she's not suffering in any way. But I think I would like to follow up with you and have that conversation.
I think we can talk also about for our next session, like what to talk about with the vet. Maybe asking, like on the side, her own personal, maybe like opinion medically
Mhm.
of what to do, or maybe we can work up like ways to like talk to her because it is tough asking those questions.
Oh yeah, it definitely is, and I do value and trust the vet's opinion. But I do appreciate and thank you for taking the time to meet with me today.
Of course, it was great seeing you.
Okay, thank you, Sam. Bye bye.